Burak had always considered himself a realist. As a xenolinguist aboard the Endeavour, humanity's first deep space diplomatic vessel, he'd learned to expect the unexpected. But nothing in his training had prepared him for Melissa. She wasn't human. The Vorium delegation had arrived 3 weeks ago, their crystalline ships shimmering like frozen starlight against the black canvas of space. They were elegant beings, tall, with skin that shifted between silver and pale blue depending on the light, and eyes that held galaxies within them. The Vorium had traveled across half the galaxy to meet humanity, drawn by our radio signals, our art, our chaotic broadcasts of hope and defiance. Melissa was their chief cultural liaison. She moved with liquid grace through the corridors of the Endeavour, absorbing everything about humanity with an intensity that both fascinated and unnerved the crew. She attended every briefing, asked questions that cut to the heart of human nature, and spent hours in the observation deck, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Burak had been assigned as her primary contact. At first, their conversations were purely professional, translations of idioms, explanations of human customs, clarifications on diplomatic protocols. But somewhere between discussing Shakespeare and explaining why humans found comedy in their own failures, something shifted. "Your species is paradoxical," Melissa had said one evening, her voice carrying that melodic quality that made every word sound like music. "You are fragile, yet you venture into the void. You are short-lived, yet you dream of eternity. You are divided, yet you speak of unity." Burak had laughed, the sound echoing in the empty observation deck. "That's humanity in a nutshell. We're a beautiful mess." "I find it compelling," she'd replied, and for a moment, her eyes had fixed on him with an intensity that made his breath catch. The other crew members had noticed. Jenna from Astrophysics had cornered him in the mess hall, grinning. "So, you and the Vorium princess, huh?" "She's not a princess," Burak had protested, feeling his face heat. "And there's no me and her. We're just working together." "Right," Jenna had smirked. "That's why you stare at her like she hung the stars." Later that night, over drinks with the engineering team, someone had asked the inevitable question, "Would you actually date an alien?" Burak had laughed it off, perhaps too loudly. "I mean, it's not like it would work, right? Different species, different worlds, different everything." He'd taken a sip of his drink, then added with a crooked smile, "But honestly, if she proposed, I'd probably say yes." The table had erupted in laughter and jeers. Burak had joined in, treating it as the joke it was meant to be. What he hadn't noticed was Melissa standing just outside the mess hall, her superior hearing catching every word. The next day, Melissa requested a private meeting. They met in the Arboretum, humanity's attempt to bring Earth into the stars, a domed garden filled with plants from every continent, the air thick with the scent of jasmine and roses. "I must understand something about human bonding rituals," Melissa began, her usual composure seeming slightly fractured. "When your people wish to commit to another, there is a proposal? An asking?" Burak nodded, curious. "Yeah, traditionally one person asks the other to marry them, to be partners for life. Why do you—" "Among my people," she interrupted, her skin flickering with shades of violet he'd never seen before. "We do not ask. We declare. We state our intention, and if the other's biology responds, if our life frequencies align, the bond forms automatically. There is no choice, no words needed." She stepped closer, and Burak's heart hammered against his ribs. "But I have been studying humans," Melissa continued, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "And I understand now that you need the choice. You need the asking. Your species finds meaning in the decision itself." "Melissa, I don't understand. Last night you said something. You meant it as humor. But I need to know—" She paused, and for the first time since they'd met, She looked vulnerable. Did you mean it? Any part of it? Burak's mind raced back to the mess hall, to his throwaway comment. His face flushed hot. You heard that? I hear many things. Her eyes searched his. Burak, my people have observed humanity for years before making contact. We came because you are unique in the galaxy. Most species expand outward from strength. Humans expand from curiosity. You reach for the stars not because you are powerful, but because you are hopeful. She reached out, her hand hovering near his but not touching, waiting for permission in a very human gesture. I have watched you translate our words, bridge our worlds, and laugh in the face of the unknown. I have seen you defend your species' flaws while celebrating their dreams. And I have felt something I did not think possible between our kinds. Her skin now rippled with gold and rose. My people do not understand this. They call it contamination. But I call it choice. Burak's breath caught. What are you saying? Melissa's lips curved in an expression she'd learned from humans, a smile, tentative but genuine. She lowered herself, her long legs folding in an approximation of a human kneel, and spoke clearly. Burak Chen of Earth, I am asking you, in your way, with your choice. Will you bond with me? Will you be my partner across species, across stars, across every difference that should make this impossible? Time seemed to crystallize around them. Burak could hear his pulse, could feel the weight of the moment, a human and an alien choosing each other when the universe said they shouldn't, building a bridge when galaxies stood between them. He thought of all the reasons to say no, the complications, the biology, the politics, the sheer impossibility of it all. Then he thought of her, learning to laugh, choosing to ask, kneeling in a human garden on a human ship, offering him a choice that her people had never needed. From somewhere beyond the arboretum, he could almost hear Melissa's voice from earlier, soft and certain. Then say yes. Burak knelt before her, taking her hand in his, feeling the electric warmth of her skin against his. Yes, he said simply. Yes to all of it. Her skin exploded into colors he had no names for, and when she kissed him, her people's way of sealing intent, he understood that humanity's greatest strength had never been its defiance or its technology. It was this, the choice to love what was different, to build bridges into the impossible, and to say yes when the universe expected silence. Outside, Earth turned below them, oblivious that two people from different worlds had just rewritten what it meant to reach for the stars.